Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Sandor with Pure Incubation Ventures, and I'm excited to be here today with my colleague, Pam Carter, who is the Associate General Counsel at DemandScience. As part of Pure Incubation Ventures, we take an immense pride in our association with DemandScience, a company that has truly set a benchmark in the B2B demand generation area with advanced technology in marketing science and AI, and whose customers include the world's largest B2B enterprises like Google, AWS, Adobe, and more. And so today, Pam and I are here to talk about the hot topic of compliance and data privacy. And that's top of mind for not only DemandScience, but all of our customers as well. And Pam, I have about 9 burning questions that I'd like to ask you. So,
Okay.
shall we? Thank you for joining me. So,
Hap-
it's fascinating to me how DemandScience has managed to create such a interesting culture of compliance that extends all the way from our top executives down to every employee. And I would love for you to share with me more about how this culture is nurtured and how it benefits customers in terms of trust and confidence.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Cindy. It's true that at DemandScience, we really do have a culture of compliance, and that's supported throughout our organization, including, as you mentioned, the executives and through to the board level and our ownership. And it also includes, employee awareness, employee training. So it's really permeates throughout the entire organization. And that's really important because when a company really has that culture of compliance, where compliance is such a key initiative and such a key component to all that we do, it helps to really build that trust and that commitment for our customers so that they can rely on us and they have faith in us, and we're able to deliver for them.
Awesome. So, having spent part of my career in cybersecurity, fascinating space, very complicated though.
It is.
I am really intrigued by the whole global privacy and compliance team that DemandScience has put together across many different countries. And I'd love for you to explain why having global resources is really crucial to the business.
Yeah, DemandScience is a global company. We have locations around the world in many countries. And in particular, our privacy and compliance team, which sits in our legal organization, we have resources in the US, we have resources in Europe, and we have resources in Asia. And it really allows us a front seat view to the rapidly changing privacy laws and regulations that are adopted across the globe. It also positions us really well to serve our customers because we have, resident GDPR experts. We have experts, on Filipino privacy law, for example. We have experts on U.S. privacy. And it really gives us a global reach, that some smaller companies might not be able to have because they don't have those type of resources. And our company really committed to and invested in our overall global program. And that's really important because in today's economy, we're a global world where, very few companies operate within the U.S. only. And so we're
True.
able to really provide that broad coverage.
Right. That's great to hear. And speaking of small vendors, it seems to me that it's quite common to hear about smaller vendors struggling with building really robust data privacy programs just due to their resource limitations. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how DemandScience is tackling this issue and maybe shed a little bit of light on your global legal compliance data privacy resources that give DemandScience an edge in this aspect, because I think that's super important.
Sure. And yes, I agree that it is important. And we've implemented, the organizational and technical measures that are really required under GDPR. Smaller vendors struggle because it is an investment. As I mentioned, it's not just about the investment of monetary resources, but it's it's human resources, it's software, it's monitoring and constantly um, uh, following best practices and developments in the law and new emerging regulations on a global basis. And I can tell you that they are fast and rapid, and things change on a daily basis. And we're really on top of all of that. And so it's often hard for smaller companies to dedicate those kind of resources. We have a dedicated team to address all those emerging issues and to tackle them in a way that allows us to really monitor, assess, and mitigate our risks so that our customers benefit from all of that behind the scenes work here at DemandScience.
Interesting that you bring up risk, because it seems like your risk assessment and management program are extremely comprehensive. And I'm wondering if you could just walk me a little bit through how that works.
Sure, and you are absolutely right. I'm very proud of our program and how we really assess and manage risk, how we document our compliance. We develop policies, we map our policies and our program to various standards. Think ISO 27001. And other standards, so that we are always looking towards a very global, accepted privacy standard as we develop these policies. And then we gather our evidence, we track it. We have a software, I mentioned our software tools that we've invested in and allow us to gather evidence of our compliance, really track it. When we talk about consent, and hopefully we'll talk about that in a little bit, but when we talk about consent and how important that is in the privacy landscape, we're able to document how we obtain consent. We map our data. We know where our data resides. We know how we process it. We know, we just have our, we're involved in product development. We're involved in every aspect of our business in such a way that really allows this program to be, it benefits our clients. It benefits us because we really are on top of it.
Right. I'm curious about the vendor side of things, particularly the vendor compliance management program that DemandScience has. And I know that you've set super high standards for your vendors and partners, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah, we have a really great vendor management program and vendor compliance program. As part of our onboarding of new suppliers, new vendors, new partners, we put them through really a pretty rigorous assessment. So they respond to our assessment program. We gather evidence of their compliance. We track things like insurance requirements, any certifications they may have, their cybersecurity protocols and their controls. And that's so important because it's not enough for DemandScience to be compliant, but for every vendor that provides services to DemandScience, they must also be compliant, particularly if they're processing or handling any of our data.
Right. Well, I think that brings us to, the concept of internal risk assessments and data mapping, which I know very little about, but it sounds really complex. And I'd love for you to maybe break it down, how these assessments and mapping exercises, help DemandScience gain a better understanding of all the data that you handle, which is enormous. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and when we started really building our program, we hired a third party to come in and do a full risk assessment on our program to really identify areas of opportunity to improve, right? And so we use that as our map as we started out developing our program. And we have built on that. And we do internal risks. We're in the process of doing an internal audit. We constantly do our own internal assessments. We have things called DPIAs, where we can gather the risk impact to other parts of our company. And this allows us to really identify any potential gaps or areas of improvement, and that helps us to really continue to build and continue to mature our overall program. And we have experts that do that. And when you mentioned data mapping, that's an extraordinary task. And there are a lot of software tools out there that do that. But the approach that we've adopted is that we can't ask a software tool to do something until we understand where the data resides ourselves. And so our team has gone out there and we know, and I would show you, but it will boggle your mind what the data flow looks like.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty impressive. But where our data exists in our systems and how we process it and where it is, because, to be frank, if somebody, if we have a data subject who asks to be opted out, or exercises their right to forget me or under any of the privacy laws wants to be removed from any of our outreach, we have to be able to remove their data. And that's not the time to sit there and go, well, where might it be, right? So we've undertaken that exercise, and it's really quite impressive. But that's another layer of this program that provides our customers with the assurance that we really do know we have this mature program. We really do understand compliance, and we're tackling it at every level to make sure that we're providing products and services in a way that our customers can rely upon.
And protect them as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So we all know that cybersecurity is a huge issue these days, and it's really good to hear about what you guys are doing on the cybersecurity side. Can you maybe elaborate on more details about specific controls your team implements to protect the data? And how does this program sort of work hand in hand with your privacy governance efforts to ensure comprehensive data security?
Yeah, great question, Cindy. Data privacy isn't just about data governance, right? It's also about data protection. And when we talk about data protection, that's a partnership with our technical team and our cybersecurity team, who are out there mitigating against all the threats that we face in this technical world that we live in. And so we have a lot of different controls and protocols in place. We have a robust incident response plan, so that should some sort of incident occur, we know immediately how we're going to respond, and we have our various stakeholders involved. It's a very comprehensive program and a great partnership with the data compliance team, really, or the privacy team, and working with our cyber team to make sure that we meet all of the compliance standards on both sides of that, the data protection side as well as privacy.
Well, sure. Now, it sounds like your investment and program development not only benefits DemandScience, of course, but also can help to instill confidence in your customers. And so could you explain how all of these initiatives translate into maybe tangible advantages for your customers and their businesses when it comes to using DemandScience as a partner and in a compliant manner?
Yeah, we want our customers to have confidence that the products and services that we provide to them are compliant. And I can give you some examples where increasingly we've been engaged with our sales team in sort of those pre-sales opportunities to talk to our customers, with a particular focusing on our data mapping activities, as we just talked about, some of our workflows and our ability to provide proof of consent. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, but our method of obtaining consent and being able to prove that we actually have consent to pass that data on to our customer is so very critical to our customers, because they They want to rely on the fact that we have actually reached out to these individuals, to these business contacts, and obtain their consent for our customer to reach out to them, to market to them. That makes that lead so much more valuable if they have that level of confidence. So we've been working with the sales team and really engaging in some of those pre-sale opportunities to talk about our program, to talk about how we obtain consent, what that process looks like, how we can prove that we have consent if they need that. And that engagement has really contributed to, helping to close deals because our customers understand our commitment to our program and how it benefits them. And we are proud to say that, we've been able to participate in a number of those engagement activities, and we believe has, really made the difference.
Absolutely. Building customer confidence is definitely a cornerstone for any business, really, but especially in this space when you are selling data and there's so much at risk. So how do you encourage customers to, you mentioned about partnering with the sales team and getting involved in some of those pre-sales conversations. How do you encourage customers to connect with your team to talk about compliance and ask questions? And maybe you can tell me a little bit more about how you're opening up those lines of communications, because I think it's actually quite unique.
Yeah, and it's a focus of ours. It's one of our internal goals this year is to really continue to develop out that communication flow with our sales organization, materials for our sales organization, so that they can connect with our customers, introduce them to us. It's not uncommon for a legal team to be in a sales organization for sales folks not to want legal engagement, right? That's in many companies, that's taboo. They don't want us near anything if they can avoid it.
It's very unique.
Yeah, we've tried very hard to be seen as a resource, right? To be seen as a resource that can really help provide valuable information to not only to our sales organization and to everyone internally, but to our customers, so that we can say questions like, have you considered this? When a customer asks for something in particular that we think might be risky, we can prompt the question, have you thought about this? It might implicate some compliance law like TCPA if we're talking about telemarketing, for example. And so we're able to engage in those kind of conversations with customers that I think, they see that we're trying to help them. And so I feel like we can be a real asset to our sales organization in that way. And we're trying to increase that opportunity for engagement. But our entire sales organization, from the leadership through every single account executive on our team, has been trained and is aware of the skill set that our team has and our willingness to engage with our customers, not just on a contract negotiation, but really to explain the state of our compliance program and what we offer.
So amazing. You guys are doing a great job. Well, Karen, I don't have any more questions. You covered so much, and this was so enlightening to me. I hope it's helpful to anyone who's watching this. I hope we can do this again, because I know we have just touched, on the tip of the iceberg here. And I know that as B2B, the B2B market is very complex. It doesn't matter what part of it you're in. And I think, helping our customers understand what we can provide, not only from as a service and solution, but also as a partner and someone who can help educate and help make their businesses better, safer, all of those things that I'm sure everyone's thinking about these days. So thank you so much for joining me and having this fun conversation. We'll do it again. Great.
I'm a geek, so, we love to talk about something that might bore others to tears, but I could talk about this for hours. Now, and would be happy. So
Yeah, important conversations to have and to share, I think, with not only our internal team, but with our customers and anyone else who's looking to jump into this space. And they're working with any kind of data demand generation. It's really complicated, and I think Demand Science has done an amazing job of coming to the table with everything that needs to be done in terms of privacy, security, compliance, and making sure that the customer comes first in terms of their own security and compliance. So great job. Yeah.
you know, the data is complex, as you said. We try to make it simple. So we try to make it simple for our customers. Kind of let us worry about some of this stuff behind the scenes, because it is a complex environment, and we try to make it simple for them.
Great. If I was on the other side of the table in former careers when I've been a CMO, I would so appreciate all of this information because you're so busy. You have to juggle so many aspects of the marketing um, team at any company. And just knowing that a company like Demand Science has my back is really, really important and would allow me to continue to work with a company like Demand Science, but also be an evangelist sort of internally at my company. If budgets get cut, you want to make sure that your trusted vendors are still with you.
Yeah, that's another great point. And not to drag our conversation out for another 10, 15 minutes, but when budgets get cut and we're forced to look at, and we know it. I experience it, and when we're looking at our vendors and where we're investing our dollars, you want to get the most you can for your money. And so investing in demand gen services from a company like us allows you to really get the best bang for your buck, right? Like, you are getting solid data. If you're getting consented to leads, if you're buying content syndication from us, you're getting quality data that we can back up. And so that should be an efficient use of their resources, and hopefully a really good investment of their limited resources.
Absolutely. And the way I would think about it, again, if I'm on the other side of the desk, is what's the overall ROI, right, of this data that I'm buying? So there might be smaller vendors who can offer lower prices and claim that they have, the same quality of data. But in reality, it's the overall ROI. So the data is very clean, and so I can trust it. And I know that down the line, it's probably going to convert at a higher percentage than perhaps other sources. And that's the thing. Even if your budgets get cut and you know that it's challenging to figure out how you're going to spend or not spend. It's at the end of the day, if, again, as a CMO, I'm providing those quality leads to my sales team, then I'm going to feel good about it. And I'm going to be able to align with a company like Demand Science to, no matter what happens, whether the budget's bigger or smaller, it's, a relied upon, trusted partner. So great job. Yeah.
Right. That's a good point on the ROI. Yeah, if you're getting good, clean data, your chance of conversion is anecdotally is probably a lot higher. Logic tells you that if we've obtained a valid consent and are passing along good data to you, that your opportunity to convert that lead is a lot greater. So you're spending less time, right? You're getting to that conversion rate quicker. You're getting to your quote to cash process quicker. And so all of that benefits the customer, and again, makes us a wise investment.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Pam. I appreciate you joining me today. We'll do it again. And this has been absolutely fantastic.